Marcus was tired. It wasn't just physical exhaustion. It was a mental and emotional drain that seemed to seep into every part of his life. He had spent years chasing success, working long hours, cutting out his weekends, and sacrificing sleep to build his business. He had done everything right. He listened to the podcasts, read the books, and followed all the steps prescribed by successful entrepreneurs. But there was one problem. He was stuck. His bank balance seemed stagnant, his business barely breaking even, and his personal life was all but non-existent. He was working harder than ever, but it felt like he was running in circles. Every time he looked around, other people seemed to be moving ahead. His college buddy had just bought a house, his cousin was on vacation in Bali, and even his co-workers were getting promoted. Marcus felt like he was falling behind, even though he was doing everything he was supposed to. The frustration was starting to eat at him. His friends and family meant well, but their advice felt hollow. "Just keep pushing, Marcus," they'd say. "Hard work pays off. Don't give up now." But no matter how much harder he worked, nothing changed. The constant hustle had become a blur. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. The dream he had once been so passionate about now felt like a never-ending cycle. Sitting at his desk one evening, Marcus looked at the pile of bills next to his laptop. His heart sank. Even the thought of going through his finances made him feel like he was sinking deeper into an ocean of stress. The business had grown in some areas, but it didn't feel like enough. Not by a long shot. A notification from his phone buzzed, pulling him out of his thoughts. It was from Paul, his old college buddy. Marcus had seen Paul's posts on social media for the last few months. Pictures of his new house, vacations in exotic places, and fancy dinners at upscale restaurants. It always made Marcus feel a little worse about himself. Today, Paul posted yet another picture, this one from the closing of his new home. "Congrats, man." Paul's post read. "Feeling blessed. Finally made it." Marcus stared at the picture for a long moment, his fingers gripping the edge of the desk. Paul had always been the type to find success easily. He wasn't the hardest worker, but somehow, everything just fell into place for him. Marcus had always admired Paul for his carefree attitude, but now, a part of him resented it. Here he was, stuck in his own struggles, while Paul seemed to breeze through life effortlessly. He tossed his phone down on the desk in frustration. What was he doing wrong? Why wasn't he getting ahead like everyone else? He had sacrificed so much, his time, his energy, his sleep. But it didn't seem to matter. Success was just out of reach. That evening, Marcus knew he needed a break. He had been sitting at that desk for hours, but no amount of staring at his computer screen was going to change anything. So, he grabbed his jacket and headed out into the cool night air, hoping that some time away from the office would help clear his mind. He didn't really know where he was going, but he just needed to get out of the house. As he walked through the park near his apartment, he spotted an old friend sitting on a bench, Jake. Jake had always been one of those people who seemed to have a good balance in life. While Marcus was caught up in the hustle, Jake had managed to carve out a career for himself without burning out in the process. "Hey man," Marcus said, walking over and sitting down next to him. Jake looked up with a warm smile, his usual calm demeanor reassuring Marcus in an odd way. "Hey Marcus," Jake replied, patting the bench beside him. "How's everything going?" Marcus sighed, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Honestly, Jake, I'm losing it. I've been working non-stop, putting everything into this business, but it feels like I'm going nowhere. My bank account's stuck. My life's stuck. I look around and it seems like everyone else is moving forward. Paul just bought a house, my cousin's in Bali, even my co-workers are getting promoted. Feels like I'm falling behind. I'm doing everything right, but nothing's happening." Jake listened quietly, nodding as Marcus poured his frustrations out. It had been a long time since Marcus had opened up to anyone about how he was feeling. Jake let him talk, not interrupting, just offering silent support. Finally, when Marcus had finished venting, Jake spoke up. "You're putting in the work, I can see that. But you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're comparing yourself to everyone around you. You're trying to measure your success by their standards." Marcus blinked, trying to process what Jake was saying. "What do you mean?" "I'm just trying to keep up. I'm doing everything they tell me to do, grinding, learning, hustling. What else is there?" Jake shook his head slowly. "You're comparing your journey to theirs. And that's the problem. You can't keep measuring your life against someone else's success. Your journey is different. And the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday." Marcus furrowed his brow, still not quite understanding. "But, if everyone else is doing well, shouldn't I be too?" Jake smiled, but it wasn't a smile of mockery. It was a knowing smile. "That's the thing, Marcus. You're so busy looking around at everyone else's success that you're forgetting to focus on your own. You're not in competition with them. You're only in competition with yourself. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in bed, his mind racing with Jake's words. "Stop comparing yourself to others." It kept echoing in his head. It made sense in a way, but it wasn't easy. The temptation to look at what others had and feel envious was strong. He had always measured his progress by external factors: how much money he was making, what his friends were doing, how successful his colleagues were. But Jake was right. That wasn't the way to measure success. The next morning, Marcus made a decision. He wasn't going to compare himself to anyone anymore. No more measuring his success by someone else's standards. It was time to focus on his own path, his own progress. He sat down at his desk and pulled out a piece of paper. He wrote down his goals, not the goals that everyone else seemed to have, not the goals that the gurus preached about. These goals were his. They were based on what he truly wanted: balance, growth, peace of mind, and yes, financial success. But it wouldn't be his success compared to anyone else's. It would be his success on his terms. Weeks went by and Marcus stuck to his new mindset. He still worked hard, but he worked smarter. He took care of himself. He made time for things that brought him joy: time with friends, time to relax, time to reflect. He stopped measuring his progress by what others were doing and started measuring it by his own growth. As he focused on creating value and building relationships, his business slowly began to grow. It wasn't an overnight success, but it was steady and it felt sustainable. Marcus found a new sense of peace, not in the hustle, but in the process. He started taking pride in the small wins: improving his product, helping a new customer, or simply learning something new. He wasn't trying to catch up with anyone anymore. He was walking his own path, one step at a time, and for the first time he felt like he was truly moving forward.